Okay, and welcome to the AG Talks podcast. Here today I'm joined by Forrest Gardner. We're going to talk, as we always do, about all things construction, recruitment, and ultimately providing valuable lessons from industry leaders to help you succeed. So I'm joined today by Forrest, as I mentioned. Forrest was our second employer at Amundson Group. He is from New Jersey originally.
Yeah, Jersey Strong,
former coach, super talented guy who's really passionate about the construction, the infrastructure sector. Is here today to share some hopefully some insights and some lessons, and really kind of give you some nuts and bolts and some key takeaways to help you succeed in your career. So I hope that. Yeah. Was that okay for us?
That was good.
Would you take that?
Yeah, I'll take that any day. I like it.
So give everyone an introduction into Forrest Gardner.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got AG, but we've got FG now.
Okay, now we're rolling with it. So like you said, Jersey Strong, born and raised, loved it, but ended up coming to Texas and moving down here a couple years back, and I'm not leaving. Jersey's amazing. Born and raised, got the roots dug in deep, but Texas is not.
You would never speak knowing to you that you're from Jersey then, I guess.
Well, after a couple beers, then it starts flowing, then the real accent comes out.
Cool, mate. Well, look, we're gonna touch on a lot of things here today, and hopefully, like I mentioned, have some really cool stuff for the audience to take away from this. But how did you get here? Let's go right back to the start. Give the audience a bit of an introduction into yourself and kind of why we're here today.
Yeah, well, honestly, last year I was a coach. I was a teacher and coach, middle school, football and wrestling, and it was a great opportunity doing it. But once speaking with you and decided I wanted to make a change and get out of that background. And speaking with you, getting into the recruiting industry, honestly, it was a big adjustment, but it was awesome, just the environment that you're bringing and that we're building here at AG, and the vision of where we're going and how we're doing it is really just brought me in and makes me want to really...
Cool. So I normally start off by asking questions about how we can help our audience, but something that you mentioned just really grabbed my attention, and I know the audience picked up on it. Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about wrestling. So...
man,
because you train UFC fighters now, right?
Yeah, well, I work with them more like they're whooping on me, but it's fun, man, and it's huge up in the Northeast.
Okay.
And so bringing it down here into Texas, it's all football. It's all football, which I played in college. I love it, but I'm honestly more passionate about wrestling. It goes further than just a bunch of sweaty dudes rolling around.
Is that how you describe it?
It's the truth, right? Especially when I get in there, that's all it is. But it teaches you a whole bunch of discipline, fun, team bonding, all that aside, just beating up on guys. It's a good time. Yeah,
I mean, you're one of the younger members of our organization, and you could argue one of the most mature in a well sense. What do you think about wrestling that's helped you within the construction space or what you do today?
Oh, that's a great question. And honestly, you can learn a lot from the sport itself because by far it's the most mentally tasking as well as training you in discipline, right? Because when you're out there, it's just you and your opponent, and you can take those lessons and learnings and defeats and have to come face it with adversity. So when you bring that into the construction space and the guys we're dealing with, I mean, the guys are literally building America that we're working with. So when they have to get their job done, it's not all roses. It's not all sweet. So they have to learn and just be able to take that adversity and roll with it.
Wow, yeah, and it was only till today I was actually thinking about that. What a fascinating journey.
Yeah,
so you play college football as well?
College football, Austin College, small school. A lot of people haven't heard of it. Go Roos, but played offensive line there and then transitioned into coaching. But once I had the opportunity to come on board with AG, I mean, it's awesome being able to work into the construction and learn all about it from the best people in the industry.
So where does that, like you I think anyone that's listened to the start of this podcast can tell you're a pretty passionate guy, right?
Yeah.
Where does a passion come from the industry, of the construction space? Where does that passion really stem from?
The passion comes from speaking with the guys that are doing it day in and day out. And what they're accomplishing in the situation that they're in. So, I mean, getting dirty, building the infrastructure for the system that we all use day in and day out, and the guys that take a real pride in what they do, and we're able to help them out. So to be able to talk with them, learn about the industry, and really, be a part of it with them and making sure they're getting the best for themselves is something that just you're able to bring the energy, bring the passion with.
Interesting. No, I'm glad you touched on it, and I know it's something that you're really inspired about. Do you think the construction industry undersells itself?
Greatly, in all honesty, with the guys that I'm speaking with day in and day out. I mean, without these men and women that are building up our whole society, without them, we're not going to have anything. We're going to fall through as a full country and society.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy, isn't it? You don't really until you really think about it. What's your take on the industry as a whole, right? I mean, there's loads going on. You've got inflation rising. You've got people wanting to go and sit on a beanbag all day, and you've got which is quite ironic because we just hire a load of millennials, and we do have beanbags in our office now. But what do you take? What's your thoughts on the industry and the challenges it's facing at the moment, mate?
I mean, the biggest challenge is, at least from a company standpoint, the clients are struggling to get people, like you said, off the beanbags and get them to work and be a part of this industry.
How do they do that then, mate? I mean, that's...
I mean, by building up internally. So what I mean by that is when the company has their roots and growing that, what they're going to want to do is make sure they're building an environment that people want to stay, people want to go to, be excited for, passionate for. And that all comes from within. Now, trying to bring people and get them to do this job, you need to make sure they're getting taken care of. And that's where we come in to help them out, making sure they're getting the best options. Because, like you said, the construction industry is underselling itself to a certain degree, that a lot of these guys get rabbit-holed into a situation and they don't know what else is out there. What other options that they can have that benefit not only themselves, but their family too.
It's difficult, isn't it? It's an unfortunate situation that there's so many amazing people that just don't really know what good looks like. I want to ask you about a topic that I haven't asked the others about, but I really wanted to save this one for you because of the level you interface with a lot of business leaders, right? And one of the things that I'm interested to learn from you are the ones that you deal with. What do you think makes a great leader, especially for people, for candidates interviewing or clients assessing? What makes a good leader to you?
That's a good question. I'd say honesty. Honesty and trust would be the biggest things, because when you join a company, like for myself here at AG and people in the construction industry, they want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, and that comes from the top. So when you get that transparency and that honesty about the vision of the company, your responsibilities, and what the culture is going to be like, that is shown from the business leaders, and it trickles downhill. It's a snowball effect that works within the company, and from the guys on the ground in the shovels to the guys in the trucks, supervising it, that culture can all stay within. That's how you're going to keep the best guys as well.
How do you define that, though? I mean, a lot of people say that they do that, but based on your experience of working with, a huge number of clients, like how do you put that into action?
You want to be in an environment that you're able to go to your boss, whoever your superior is, and if you need to take off for your kid's ball game, if you have an issue that comes up, you want to be taken care of in the aspect of someone that actually cares, as well as giving you the tools that you can get yourself where you want to be in the industry. So whether that's a promotion, whether that's a different location, you want to be in that vehicle bringing yourself to the best part in where your personal goals are.
It's sad, isn't it? We see so many businesses that don't take care of its people.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous.
And it shows as well when you talk to the guys, right? It's honestly, it's a company that we like to help out are the ones when we talk to their superintendents or foremans, and they're absolutely happy. They say, you know what, I wouldn't leave this job for $1 million because they're.
Do you see that?
Yes, and with a select amount of companies, and those are the ones we like to work with.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think makes a good company for people to what should, imagine I'm a foreman and I've been somewhere and I'm looking at the opportunities. What should I take into account and consideration? What makes a great business to work for?
Yeah, what makes a great business to work for if you're looking for a new opportunity, you have to understand what you want, right? Because it's going to be different for everyone. Not everyone wants to work for the large behemoths of the industries. However, if you want the work-life balance, the family culture, as well as, the new equipment, there's going to be different sectors for what you can go for. So really, to figure out where they want to go is just by making sure you have a good understanding yourself starting off.
Wow. I mean, it must be, it's so difficult, isn't it? And I know we talk a lot about empowering people and enabling them to be in the best positions that they can be. What are you seeing as reasons that people are on your day-to-day chats? Are people giving you for potentially being interested in new ventures?
Yeah, I mean, the top three I would say number one would be no room for growth. A lot of guys in this industry, when they start to feel stagnant or there's no opportunity for them to make the jump from project engineer into project manager, or if they're in the field, foreman to superintendent, if there's no support for them in order to grow with where they want to be, that's a big flag for guys, especially when they're looking down the road, because they want to be able to take care of their family, take care of the people around them, and also their crew and their team. So that would be number one, is the room for growth and improvement for themselves.
Yeah.
Number two, I would say, would be work-life balance. I mean, being able to go home and be with their kids at night, or not working 6 days a week all throughout the day. And of course, in construction, it's inevitable. I mean, you're going to have the rain days, you're going to have the days that you're going to need to go in, but setting those expectations is the biggest thing as well.
Do you think the way that people have what's important to people has changed? Because I know we speak to some companies been established, and they say, look, hey, it's not like what I was when I got into the industry. Do you see that what's important to people changing?
I mean, it's always going to keep changing with whatever situation, whichever region you're working in. The different cultures from what you're going to be getting into is going to be different. Okay. But for changing, yes, and it's going to be different for everyone. But
yeah, I mean, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
it
really is.
It's really, really cool. And do you think that's one of the distinguishing factors about yourself then? I mean, we know Fozzie Bear as, the big, lovable bear that is larger than life. But what value do you bring to prospective clients and candidates then? Because to some, it's just, recruitment industry is it can have negative connotations, and we'll come into that. But what value do you bring then to all parties?
Honestly, bringing the energy to make sure that we're either helping out the companies find what they're looking for, because like we say, we're the emergency button.
Do you think like if I'm a CEO of a business, that would you agree then that you just can't put an advert on Indeed and expect to get just tell me about like what it is that you do that's so unique.
Yeah.
Then.
Okay. So I mean, being a true headhunter, we're talking with guys in the industry that only do this heavy civil and site development space. That's what I'm working in. So with that, talking to them, making sure we're finding the right fit for these candidates, and bringing it to the clients with a no bullshit approach.
What was the no? What
I mean,
I love that. What's a no bullshit approach then, Foz?
Because if you get the resumes on Indeed, they just recycle. You can have some things that just aren't true. It's a recycled approach. Not every candidate's going to be perfect. Not every company's going to be perfect.
That might take some of our audience a little bit back. Then I mean,
well,
what do you mean by not every candidate's right?
Their experience or their background. We are not dealing with people that are putting on roofs all day and then asking them to run a multi-million-dollar heavy highway project.
Okay.
So you don't want to try to fit a square peg into a round hole here. And we try to make that very clear to the companies we want to work with and that want to work with us. Because take the no bullshit approach, if there are red flags, if there are definite gold stars with the guys that we're helping out, guys and girls that we're helping out, we want to make that clear and just make an easier process for both sides.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate you clearing up because there's a lot of misconceptions, right? And anyway, we speak to people daily, and it's one of the reasons we set this company up.
100%.
What do you think is like a really? I actually wrote this down.
Yeah, let's see.
So, what do you believe is the biggest myth or misconception about what you do?
Ooh, okay. That's a good question right there. Biggest misconception about what we do in this industry as a whole is, I guess, how much work actually goes in to what goes on behind the scenes.
What do you mean by that?
So when you go through Indeed or whatever platform that you're using and seeing just job adverts going through, that's what I guess people think recruiters do all day long. They don't understand we're talking to so many top-notch guys.
You're about to say badass then.
I was going to say badass candidates. I'm going to say badass candidates in the industry, and making sure it's a right fit. So culturally, experience, work-life balance for both sides. It's not just, okay, here's a resume and sending it through. We're trying to help out these companies grow. And the ones that don't want to and they're happy where they're at, we come in as an emergency button. So if someone ends up leaving or moving and they need a supervisor to come on board or else a project's not going to go through, then they call us as well.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's not, we and I'll say for our audience sake, something that we take really seriously here is that we're not right for everyone.
No.
But you've got to be passionate about what you're doing. It's very 100%. Evident we're speaking with you that you are passionate about. I kind of want to bring this in a little bit. If I'm someone that's kind of potentially open to hearing about new stuff, or if I'm I might be thinking or evaluating what questions should I ask myself that would be a really good barometer of whether I should look or should consider new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest ones is how do you want to feel when you're leaving work? And
love that.
Are you really in a spot where you can see yourself growing and being a crucial part of the company and a happy place for yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a cliche about money can't buy. It is a cliche. Money can't buy happiness because there's so many more variables of how you feel when you're leaving a company, when you're leaving work every day. Are you happy with the guys that you're with the product that you're building, right? So really looking inward is, are you at a spot that's taking care of you, that when you leave on Friday, you say, I'm excited to go to work on Monday?
Something I think you mentioned it earlier about how to create a good team. If you're a leader and you're looking at how to find the right team, a lot of our clients have done in the past just hire people off a previous track record, right? What is the secret sauce to creating a really high performance team and culture? How do you do that?
Yeah. Making sure you understand the values of what the people have and what they bring. So it's not all just the experience. It's not all just about how much work they can get done, whether that is laying pipe, moving dirt, or internally, being a headhunter in the past. What you want to see is, are you going to be able to grow with the people that you're working with and bringing onto your team? Do you see the potential, not just the past, of what they can bring and what they can offer? Because different insights.
That's quite hard to judge, though, right?
It is, and that's going to come from asking the right questions in the interviews from the client side, to make sure that it's the right fit for the company. Because you want to be able to bring it in, because the people we're speaking with, I mean, these owners, they're like yourself. This company, what you do day in, day out, is your baby. So when you're bringing more people on, you want to make sure that it is the right.
Do you think you need to be brave as someone running a company? Because I mean, you said this to me the other week. You were like, oh, some of these people that we're thankfully we're not supporting. They like to make risk-based decisions where they hire safe, or it's just because they know someone, or it's just because they've got Do you think you need to be? There's an element to build a high-performing culture of being brave. Or do you think it's another word?
Brave, I mean, like what you're saying about the risk, so you have to be courageous with what the decisions you're making, right? Okay. Because not every decision is going to be the right one. That would be a flat-out lie if you're saying you're batting 1,000 all the time, right?
I know I don't.
Yeah,
I know you're...
So you have to be brave, and you do have to take the risks with the people that you're bringing on, but making sure you're mitigating that risk and fitting the values of the company. So not just with the experience, but with how you can see the future and what the candidate or the person you're bringing on is saying as well.
So if I'm running a construction company, what could I do then, apart from the obvious answer, which is to ring us up?
Yeah, exactly.
What can I do to ensure that I'm getting the best people from asking questions or from an interview perspective? What can I do to really give me the best odds of succeeding in my hires?
Yeah. Getting to know the people you're bringing in. Getting to know them in a way that you can see yourself supporting them as well. Because of course there's the element of getting the job done, right? And that comes with the experience and the background. Yeah. But when you're looking for people to build your company, and one day, let's say you bring them in as a foreman, right, with 5-10 years experience, you want to bring that person in, and if you're trying to grow your business, you can see that person being a superintendent and then moving up to general down the road. So by being able to find that out on the interview, obviously, is going to be hard. And
so what questions risks. Could I ask them?
You got to ask, where do they see themselves in 3 to 5 years, of course, as well as how do you deal with certain situations.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So asking for examples of how you deal with guys on the crew. Let's say they're not, guys on the crew aren't showing up. How do you deal with these scenarios? Yeah. So when it does come up, because shit does come up with guys not showing up, or I know a lot of people are struggling with getting the materials for their job sites right now. So understanding how people make their decisions, how these candidates think a little bit more in depth than just what's on the resume, will go a long way down the road with these guys growing.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do. Thank you for that. I hope that there's some absolute golden gems in there.
I hope so as well.
I know there is. I want to do a little bit of a getting to know Forrest. So there's a little. We've never done this bit before. I want you to talk me through the one taco challenge.
Oh man, this is
because we've just started it. So tell everyone about what we're going to do.
I mean, so there are thousands of taco trucks.
Because you strike me as someone that's passionate about food.
Food is my calling. Okay, I grew up in the restaurant space. I love it to death. And the one taco challenge, we're gonna find out who has the best tacos.
What's the criteria got there?
Well, first off, you got to go, I'm a big spice guy. All right, so first, you need to see if you're going to be sweating afterwards. All right, I got a bald head. Let's see how shiny it is after I have the taco and the sauce.
Okay.
All right. Second, overall flavor. How's the seasonings of the meat? Okay. Is there a nice crunch when it comes to the taco, or are you just getting a soggy rag? All right. And then number 3, you're going to have to go with the shell as well, the tortilla.
Yeah, we're gonna need to. We'll score it correctly, and and there'll be prizes for people's input, and we're gonna try and share this because I'm convinced. I'm absolutely convinced the best taco trucks are here in Houston.
100%. And we're going to find the best ones.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. How do people contact you, Forrest? You know, I know you love a little bit of a social media. You're our chief TikTok expert.
Oh, yeah.
But how do people contact you?
People can get in touch with me by numbers on the LinkedIn. That's the easiest way, as well as just calling, emailing forrest@amundsongroup.com. You can check me on LinkedIn. Bald guy, goofy photo. Amundson Group.
Oh, you're not doing no. You're a good looking man. I'll give you that.
There
Forrest.
we go.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Well, look, that concludes today's episode.
Yeah,
of,
awesome.
Of AG Talks. Forrest, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it. I mean, we say coming in, we're about 18 meters away, or 18 meters away from our office, but thank you for doing that. I appreciate. Hopefully there was, for the audience there was some really key takeaways and lessons that you guys can implement and learn from. We're going to continue pushing boundaries here. AG remains at the absolute forefront of kind of what we do, and we're excited to continue this journey. So thank you for us.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
All right, beer time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
beer and tacos, baby.
Let's go.